mild. I
Okay.
was hospitalized for a week.
Yeah. It's been a tough time for all of us. Yes.
I know, I know.
Good evening, Dr. Khan. I'm Kumari.
Hi, hi, Mani. How are
Hi.
you? How are you?
Very good. How are you?
So good
Thank
to
you
see
so much.
you.
Thank you so much for attending this. And, we are waiting for your
No, no,
talk with the children.
it's so kind of you. So kind of you. When Pankaj told me about this, I was so excited when I looked at all the work that the foundation is doing, and then Pankaj gave us a fabulous talk, taking us through the various ways in which you are doing work and the vision for the future. It was just outstanding, and so I was really excited. I must
Thank
congratulate you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So where is everybody? You're all in different parts of the country.
Yes, we should be.
Yes.
I think we should have people from at least 11 different states today.
Oh wow, wonderful. Wonderful. I'm here in Hyderabad, just for your information.
Yeah, I know that. How is Hyderabad right now with the COVID
Glorious,
situation?
absolutely glorious weather. The COVID situation is down to its lowest.
Okay,
So yeah, so we are having a great time.
okay, that's good.
I know. We just have to keep fingers crossed for the next couple of months.
Saugandhi, can you get started?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Yes, yes.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sogandi, the program fellow at Vijayadan. On behalf of Shibulal family and all of us at Sarojini Damodaran Foundation, I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you attending the Charcha program. We have with us today Dr. Amirullah Khan, Development Economist and Research Director at Center for Development Policy and Practice. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I am honored to welcome Ms. Shruti Shibulal, Mrs. Kumari Shibulal, Gaurav Manchanda, and Professor Ramanand, the trustees of SDF, who have graciously agreed to participate in this event. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, sir. And today we have with us a leading young entrepreneur who has carved a space for herself in a niche of hospitality segment. Shruti Shiblal, the CEO of Tamara, who has carved a space for herself, and she is an had built an winning hospitality brand out of Bangalore. She completed her graduation in BS Chemistry from Haverford College and later pursued MBA from Columbia Business School. She is passionate about her goals towards responsible and sustainable business practices. Ma'am, you are an inspiration for all the budding entrepreneurs. Now, I welcome Sriti ma'am to address the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session. Welcome, Dr. Amir. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you.
I just wanted to speak a few minutes about the Shibulal Family Philanthropic Initiatives. I thought I'll just give a little bit of a brief on it to all of those who are somewhat new to this initiative. The Shibulal Philanthropic Initiatives, or SFPI, focuses on the education and welfare for underserved communities across the country. We aid in foundational learning, early education programs, secondary education and higher education, graduation, employability skills, healthcare, and organic farming. SFPI was born out of a sense of responsibility to society and has actively been supporting those in need through initiatives in education, healthcare, and organic farming for the last 20 years. All our initiatives are based on the premise of uplifting underserved communities and providing them with the opportunity to build a better future. We aim to have 360-degree impact on education and consequently on the lives of their children, the children themselves, their families, through initiatives across foundational and higher education. As you can see in our program, Vidyadan, to a large extent, we also help startups working in education with capacity building to ensure quality pedagogical access for the underserved. Just to give a little bit of information about what happened during COVID and how SFPI was able to do its specific outreach in terms of COVID. During the first phase of COVID last year, there were a few thousand PPE kits that were distributed to first care responders, to journalists, and there was a number of thousands of rations which were also distributed at that time to populations in need. In the second phase of COVID this year, there's been a lot more intense work that has been done. So there were about 10,000 ration kits that have been distributed over the last few months. COVID cure kits, which allow for patients to manage their symptoms at home and avoid hospitalization, have been distributed in the thousands. Ambulances with oxygen to transport patients to hospitals and ensure that they are able to reach those hospitals in time, and of course be given the oxygen support that they need in transit were put into place. Oxygens on wheels using oxygen concentrators that the foundation was able to import were created so that patients in home isolation were again able to manage their symptoms at home in order to reduce the pressure on our hospital systems. This was done to a large extent. Primary health centers were with oxygen concentrators, again with these same oxygen concentrators, were created across remote and rural areas all across the nation, really, and I think most recently in Nagaland. And one of the latest initiatives that has been done alongside Pratiksha Trust is creating an ICU in Trivandrum. So these are some of the specific things which have happened across the board from SFPI in terms of COVID relief, and of course our programs such as Vidyadan, such as Satya, Vidya Rakshak, Ankur, all of these various programs that support in education have been ongoing through this time as well. So, I'd love to also give before we welcome Dr. Khan to the session, I'd love to just, give a little bit of information about him as well. Dr. Amir Ullah Khan is a development economist and professor at the MCR HRDI of the Government of Telangana. He is a visiting professor at TIS, Indian School of Business, and at Nalsar in Hyderabad. Dr. Khan is a business columnist for LiveMint. He has been a civil servant and then deputy director and senior advisor at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, director at the India Development Foundation, and executive director at Encyclopedia Britannica. So Dr. Khan, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, for inspiring us. I personally am really looking forward to hearing you speak today, and as I'm sure everyone is. So thank you so much for being a part of this session and joining us here today.
Thank you. Is that a cue for me to begin?
Mira, can he go ahead?
Yeah. Mira, was that? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Before moving ahead, Meera ma'am would give a brief about why did we build up the WeCharcha platform and how we would be interacting it. Then you could take it up, sir.
Super. Yeah.
Thanks, Saugandhi. Good evening, everybody. Few days back, I got a very special message from one of the students. So he is from a village in Andhra Pradesh, and his mother is a single parent. And 6 years back, they were really struggling because this boy has got first rank amongst all the nearby government schools. And she did not know how to educate him further. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. And today, so that is when our paths crossed. 6 years back is when we started the Vidyadhan program in Andhra and Telangana, along with Tamil Nadu. And today, he has got a job with one of the multinationals, and he has written to us saying that he would like to support other students, and he would pay monthly some amount as a scholarship to support other students. It just really made our day. It is really heartening to see this young boy like Manikanda, who has, the thought behind his work that that has really been, yeah, that has really been very, very inspiring, and it is giving us the confidence that we are continuing, our journey along. Our journey is really, really helpful. Okay. So I would like to start, just share our thoughts behind V Charcha. So V Charcha, V stands for V as in Vidyadan. V stands for V as in we, all of us together, and also V as in virtual. So normally this time of the year is very, very hectic for Vidyadan team, because this is when we start ask for applications, and we do our tests and interviews and home visits. So it's a very, very busy time for us. But last year when COVID struck, we were, like everybody else, we were also in a lot of trouble. We were also struggling because the exam results had not come out. We did not know how to conduct the test and interview for all the students, because we used to have manual interactions with them. So we thought that we also had to, reinvent or think, redesign our processes. So with that, so they always say that no opportunity, disaster is an opportunity is disaster in disguise. So we actually revised a lot of the things that we were doing, and one of the things that we did was to launch this program called V Charcha to bring our sponsors and the students together. Okay, so there were so many sponsors who were experts in their field, and we thought this is a great idea to bring everybody virtually together, so that it's an opportunity for everybody to learn about each other. So that is how we started this research. It was a resounding success. So the sponsors were feeling very happy about the fact that they got to know more about the students, and the students were very happy to hear about people who were experts in their own areas. So that's how we started this research. And this year, we thought that why should we restrict it only to sponsors? We should also reach out to eminent people, like Dr. Amir today, and give an opportunity for our students to know more about what's happening out in the world. Okay, so that's where we are. And like I said, last year we relaunched the Vidyadhan digitally across all the states. We were able to do it only because of technology. There were many people who said that, if you go digital, then you may not be able to attract the right kind of students. It will be a disadvantage to students from rural areas, etc. But imagine our happiness when we received over 22,000 applications from across all the states. This was the highest number of applications that we ever had. And the students could take the test and interview from their homes. So we actually got more people, more students to write our test than any other year. So uh, COVID has really given us a lot of opportunities to try out new things. and Recharcha and the way we have done our selection process are but few examples of how we have done that. Okay, so, continuing with our philosophy of enabling students to be the best they can be, we are very glad and we are honored to have Dr. Amir with us. So we look forward to your talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Meera ma'am. Actually, Meera ma'am has joined Vidyadan 5 years back to build Vidyadan portal as well as scale the program across India. And thank you so much, ma'am, for building such a great platform for Vidyadan and starting off with the VCharcha initiative. Now we have the most awaited session by our keynote speaker, Dr. Amirullah Khan. He will be going to address us today on the nature of job market post-COVID. Sir, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, Meera, for taking me through the VCharcha exercise and the whole idea behind VCharcha, which I think is a superb idea. It is something that happens in the best institutions that one has seen, and allows for this dialogue. And I think that given the situation today, this is indeed something whose time had come, and good that you decided to do this. And I'm very honored to be part of this program. As I said, and thanks Shruti for that quick introduction. As I have already told Kumari, I know this program very well, and I'm really very happy um, to be associated with it. And as I talk, it will become evident as to why I have a particular academic interest also in the kind of work that the foundation is doing. I have, what I thought I would do, Meera and Sogandhi, is that I'm going to take you through a few quick slides as I sat preparing for this talk. I thought I'll take you through some of the major issues that we are grappling with, and then take a few questions at the end. But I just wanted to talk to you broadly about the insights that we are collecting on the whole issue of what education means. Why do people get educated? Why do we encourage people like us? Why do we want people to go for higher education? Why do we want the underprivileged and the marginalized to go for higher education? And what is in store for them in the near future? That's what we are looking at, and that is why I have a few things to say. Please listen to me as we go along. If there is anything that you don't follow, if there is anything that you want to comment on or object to, please feel free to do so. Even while I am speaking, use the chat window. I will be looking at it, so I will know what you all are saying. But let me first allow me to make a few broad points that I will do if I am allowed to share my screen. So Gandhi, if you can enable that, then I will just put up a few slides. Somebody has to give me
Yeah,
give me
I
the
did
rights
it.
to host
Yeah,
myself.
you can share it.
You will, yeah. I can.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Yeah. All right. So let me talk to you about my first point. And that first point is that uh, we have few challenges in India, right? And one of the biggest challenges that we have is that of poverty. Everybody agrees with me on that, that poverty is indeed a huge challenge as far as India is concerned. So look at the map that I show you. The map tells you where most of us who are poor live in India. And it should not surprise you that those red states, which is Madhya Pradesh, UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, not Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Orissa, are the states where most poor people live. Not surprising. But I will ask you a question. Don't give me an answer. I'm not going to give the answer. But the question I'm asking is, why is poverty concentrated in some areas? Why is it that most of India's poverty is in that what is known as the Hindi belt? Uh, what's the reason? And you know, this region was not always a poor region. Bihar was a very rich state not too long ago. Orissa had some very fabulous cities. Why is it that this area has become so impoverished over the last 200 years or so? That's my first question, right? Just to repeat, why is poverty concentrated in some areas? Why do areas that, why do regions that were rich earlier become poor? And why is it that places like Bangalore, like Madras, Gujarat, why do they become rich? They were not very rich places 100 years ago. India's richest city, India's most industrialized city 100 years ago, 1921, was Kanpur. It is one of the most impoverished cities in the country now. So what happens? Just give that a thought. Our second big problem is inequality. Problem two, inequality. If you see that chart to the right, you will see that if you are lucky in India to be born in the northwest in Chandigarh, then you are as rich as upper middle income country like Brazil. But if you are born in Madhya Pradesh, then you are worse off than people in Rwanda or Ethiopia. So why is there so much of inequality in the country? And that is what brings me to the major point I want to make today. And that major point I want to make to all of you today is, what does inequality mean? Poverty, we all understand. Right? Hopefully, we all understand poverty. Right? There are technical definitions of poverty. There are sociological definitions of poverty. Basically, poverty is income poverty. When you have very little income to buy even the most basic things. But what is inequality? And that is the bigger issue at stake in India today. Because, you know, while poverty is coming down, except for this brief period during COVID when it went up, but otherwise poverty has been coming down, especially over the last 20 years, pretty significantly. But what has been going up in India is inequality. We are becoming more and more unequal every year. So therefore, my question to all of you at the foundation is, and because this is central to the work that you do, I mean, sorry for being adopting this professorial attitude, but you know that's my problem. It's a professional hazard, but I really want to emphasize this point that interventions such as yours are interventions that tackle something that we in the policy space completely neglect, which are pernicious problems, which are problems that are not getting solved, in fact, are getting exacerbated. And that problem is the problem of inequality. How do you solve inequality? Why is your intervention important for people like me? Why are we happy that you are doing this intervention in terms of bringing people into higher education, particularly those people who are underprivileged? For that, let me show you this seemingly gibberish kind of lines, but let me explain this to you. If you see that blue line at the bottom, that blue line of at the bottom is income inequality. right? Income inequality. When you and I have different incomes, then we are unequal by way of income. Right? Mukesh Ambani is very, very rich. I am very, very poor. That's the income inequality that lies between the two of us. So if you see income inequality in India, the blue line, we are not doing too badly. We have income inequality. The income inequality is high in Maharashtra. It is high in Tamil Nadu. It's relatively high in Chhattisgarh and Gujarat, but it is low in Assam, Bihar, Rajasthan, Punjab. And overall, India's income inequality is not that very high. It is growing. It is a problem. It is growing, but it is not very high. What is serious is that line where I show you the line that I show in green. Look at that green line. That green line is showing that our inequality in terms of access to health is very bad. It is at least 3 times that of income inequality. And look at the states, not surprising that the least in health inequality is in Kerala. That's the least. Maharashtra does all right, Tamil Nadu is okay, Punjab is okay, Haryana is okay, but Chhattisgarh health inequality, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, here the unequal access to health is enormous, which basically means that if you are privileged, then you have access to a hospital. But if you're poor, you will die on the way to the hospital. That is why that green line is serious. But you know what's the most serious inequality in India? The most serious inequality in India is that red line. That red line shows that while we are okay, we are not so bad as far as income inequality is concerned. We are bad where health access to health is concerned, but we are terrible where access to education and particularly higher education is concerned. What is that red line showing you? That there are very few countries in the world. In fact, there is none that has as blatant an inequality in access to education as India. Again, not surprising, the least inequality is in Kerala. But Bihar, Gujarat, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, the access to education is very, very skewed. What does it mean? It means that if my parents are all right, then I have access to a school and a college. But if they are not, then I can never go to college. That is the big reason why people like me are very happy with interventions like yours. Because what you're doing is that you're smoothing this curve. You are allowing more and more people to access education. Why is the access to higher education important? Because higher access to higher education is a certain passport out of poverty. Okay, so this is the context in which I wanted to speak to you. And the context very clearly, and it bears repetition, is that at the Shibulal Foundation or at Vidyadhan, what you are trying to do is to attack directly India's biggest developmental problem, which is unequal access to education. In this graph, and this is from the United Nations Human Development Report, which measures relative inequality. We have done a little more calculation to that to show you that India's income inequality is not very bad. India's access to healthcare is very unequal, but India's access to higher education is absolutely abysmal. And in certain states, it is definitely worse than the others. So that's the context. I hope that point is clear because that is the major point I want to make. Why is there so much inequality in access? Look at online population. Look at that little thing. India has far lower online population than Nigeria, Vietnam, Philippines. We are with Indonesia, slightly ahead of Pakistan. Otherwise, our online access is pretty poor. And that is why in COVID times, when we moved from offline to online education, about 3/4 of our students suffered very bad. Of the 250 million children going to school, we had less than 50 million who had access to high bandwidth or to a machine that would allow them to learn online. Electricity access, despite huge improvements, we still are among the poorest in the world. The only countries that do worse than us on electricity access are Nigeria, Bangladesh, and Ethiopia. Every other country has far greater access to electricity, and you all understand why access to electricity is important for education, both in the offline and certainly in the online mode. Our urban population is among the lowest in the world. The only country which has lower urban population than India is Ethiopia. And this is how India's urbanization is going on. Why do I talk about urbanization? Urbanization has a direct impact on access to higher education. Wherever there is higher urbanization, there is higher access to higher education. And you will find that for some strange reason, all of India's urban growth is in the states that are along the western coast. Gujarat, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. That is where all our urbanization is happening. And that red states that I showed you in the previous map, here they are light green states. There is no urbanization happening. In the states of Bihar, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, 90% of the population lives in rural areas. Oh, do I have any problem with rural areas? No. But the issue with rural areas is that rural areas have very poor access to education and certainly very poor access to higher education. So that's the other point that I want to make. That higher education in India, which is a passport out of poverty, is available to very few across the country, and within regions it is available to very few outside the 5 states that constitute India's coastline on the western side. Again, very little to answer as to why this happens. Why is there no development along the eastern coast? Why does that whole belt from Rajasthan to Orissa look green? Green meaning rural. 90% rural population. Poor access to electricity, poor access to bandwidth. So, as a result, if those are the 2 points that I make, then the substantial issues and the conversation that we wanted to have today was that if these are the challenges before us, then what do we do? How do we educate our children? Of these 250 million children who go to school, 20 million children will join college. Is that enough? That's a lot of. But that means that hardly 10% of our children have a chance of going to college. In some states, the gross enrollment ratio has gone up. In some states, it is very poor. Overall, if you look at India, our gross enrollment ratios are still to hit 20%, which means that a large majority, if not 4/5 and 3/4 of our students, will never go to college. If they will never go to college, what jobs do they aspire for in a world that is seeing a fourth revolution? And herein lies the problem for all of us who work in education. That what is it that we do to our education system to ensure that the demand for education remains high? We have, for the last 100 years, our argument has been that let us increase the supply of education. There aren't enough schools, there aren't enough colleges, there aren't enough universities. So we built 1 million schools in the last 10 years. We built 700 universities in the last 10 years. Today we have more than 1,100 universities. We have 1.5 million schools in the public sector, more than 1.5 million in the private sector. And 97% of our children are getting enrolled in class 1. So the supply situation in some sense is sorted out. If the supply is sorted out, why is there no demand for higher education? Why do we have, out of the people who join primary school, why do we have only 30% of those coming back for secondary? Why do we have only half of those who come back to join college? So there is a demand problem. And when there is a demand problem, what do? How do you encourage students to reach out for higher education? One of the ways to do that is to let them know that the future demands different skills. The past, you could have eked out a living somehow by being unskilled, by learning just enough skills. You could have managed a good living or a decent living even without having to access higher education. The world is changing, and that changing world is what we have to accept. And therefore, what we are saying here is that the point one, that the world is becoming more and more aged. Average lives around the world have gone up, including in India. Life expectancy in India was 31 in 1951. Now it is 69. You see 5% of the population is above 65. We are still a very young country. Take Japan. Japan, about 40 million people who will be above the age of 100 in the next 5 years. So we are going to see an aging world. The second thing that we are seeing is a strange U-turn that the world has taken. The world which was globalizing when we were growing up, in the late 80s and 90s, in the last century, the world was globalized. We were all becoming global. We all wanted to become citizens of the world. We were opening up, tariffs were coming down, people were moving freely. Over the last 8 years, the reverse has happened. People are now wary of globalization. Travel has reduced. Immigration has become a serious problem. Citizenship issues have become very important. So the world has taken a U-turn on globalization. And the third point is that we are seeing a lot of technology by way of 3D printing and robotics and so on. So if you see the new areas that are developing, which is called Industry 4.0, you are seeing these now cliched words like big data, simulated understanding, system integration, cloud computing. You're all hearing these words. And therefore, the world is changing in a big way. And what we are looking at are more and more new jobs in issues like data security, enterprise resource planning, factory infrastructure, design engineering. These are the new skills for the near future. And the factory itself has changed. The nature of the factory, which changed first when the Industrial Revolution happened. When the Industrial Revolution happened, big factories were set up. What were factories? People hadn't seen factories earlier. Nobody knew how it was to work at the same place as with complete strangers. That's what the 19th century did. It brought complete strangers into one big platform. That was the traditional manufacturing and factory mode. Today, that is again decomposing. We again have small factories at various locations. In fact, what COVID showed was that you don't even need a location. Everybody can be sitting at home and doing work. So production has become more and more automated. Right? Basically, in simple words, a lot more robots in manufacturing. Maintenance has become more a service. Machines are connected to the internet. Transport systems have become very, very computer and computerized systems. And therefore, what we are predicting is that all the traditional things that we used to do are going to change. Everybody has access to bandwidth and data, right? Except in some parts. There is enormous amount of data available. 4G and now 5G. Uh, Artificial intelligence is everywhere. Smart cities are coming up. Most of the things that we used to do when we used to go and shop have become electronic. You pick up a book on the laptop, you pick up groceries on your phone and order them. And therefore, the future of jobs is going to look like this. That about 10% of all of you are going to work in jobs that don't even exist today. We don't even know what those jobs are. About 35% will be old jobs, but the skill set has completely changed. Doctors who now can work on machines, who know maths, who can do simple software. So bulk of the jobs are going to change very quickly. And in the sectors, you will find that there are the sectors of cybersecurity that have huge changes, but there is every sector where you see the changes, even in textiles, even in automobiles. About 20-25% of jobs will not exist very soon. What are the skills that we need? The skills that we need to develop, therefore, are complex or multidisciplinary. A lot of creativity, understanding innovation, understanding disruption, emphasis on quality control, the need for extreme flexibility. These are the new skills that we need. And these can be broken up into so many of these skills. Right? You need specialized skills for content, for process, for resource management, social skills, technical skills. What this basically means is that higher education now has to be so different from what higher education used to be earlier. In higher education earlier, we would give you one particular skill set. Now we need a skill set that combines all these skills. My deck is done, so let me stop sharing. And basically, I want to bring you back and tell you that the future of education, therefore, of higher education comes back to understanding that there is not a single defined skill set that we can provide to you, and you will therefore work on that for the rest of your lives. What this means is that each one of you who wants to join the higher education sector must necessarily be multidisciplinary. The first of the skills that the new education policy talks about, which is that each one of us has to learn to be interdisciplinary. The second skill, and this is a very important one, is that each one of us now has to learn. This is a very important point. Please listen to me on this. The very important skill that we need to teach our college going students now, and we should start from school if we want to be successful, is to teach something we have never taught Indian children. Take a guess. What do you think I might be talking about? I am saying there is one skill that we as faculty in India have never taught. We do not teach our Indian students one of the most important skills for the modern world. I don't know if you could guess that, anyone could, but that skill is really teamwork. I used to have this German colleague of mine, and I used to send her a lot of students from India. And she would come back and comment saying that, you send me such wonderful children. They are very bright. They are superb. Whenever I give them a problem to work individually, they are just great. When I put them in a team, they are totally useless. We just don't know how to work in teams because we don't allow our children to work in teams. We don't encourage them to work. We give them individual assignments. We give them a question paper to solve on their own. We tell them, do not consult others. Don't discuss with others. And that is why you will find that we do poorly in team situations. So the new world is about working in teams. It is about working with multiple disciplines. It is about working with different languages. Most of us who go to good schools and then go to good universities end up writing, speaking, and understanding one language very well, which is usually English. Most of us can't even read our own languages, Hindi or Telugu or Urdu or whatever. We don't even know them anymore. So forget about a foreign language. You don't teach foreign languages. The foreign languages are bad. Right? They're after all from outside. So we stopped. We used to teach some children German and whatever, but we stopped doing that. And therefore, we produce a workforce that goes out in the world and knows one language. Whereas from everywhere they come learning 3 or 4 foreign languages. The fourth skill that we do not teach our children, except in the written form, is communication. Our children learn how to write very well because they must write an exam to pass. Pankaj and I belong to the civil service, where all of us went and joined and passed a very tough exam because we all knew how to write very well. But we went there and then we were asked to speak, and none of us could speak very well because we had never learned to speak. And in all our jobs, whether we were in all our jobs where we were, some of us became big foreign statesmen, some of us went and handled large labor issues without being able to address, without being able to articulate our concerns. So that these are the kind of skills that we need to teach our students to handle a different, new world. This is what I had to say. I will just reiterate the point I made in the beginning, because that to me is the essence of what I am talking about. And the essence of what I am talking about is that if we want our children to go out in a post-COVID world and earn their living, then we have to give them equal access to higher education. With the kind of inequalities that we have, we will not be able to build a skilled workforce, obviously. This entire problem that we have in the farm sector, one of the big reasons for that is because we have 400 million people in the farm sector who are literally doing nothing. And they can't get out because they don't have this higher education skills to join a world which requires expertise in the service sector of a post-COVID world. And that is why I will reiterate as to why your work is so very important. You are taking people who otherwise would not get a chance to go to higher education and giving them the only passport that is available to a lot of us to escape poverty. And that is a good, multidisciplinary, highly skilled, dexterous, flexible higher education. That's what we need for the future. And that is what I think you are doing so very well. And I do hope that not only do you scale this up 100 times, but also encourage others to do the same across the country. I will stop here. And any questions, I will be only too happy to take.
Thank you, Amir. That was a really thought-provoking presentation. I had a couple of questions, if I can ask you.
Please, Meera.
So you talked about various types of inequalities. One thing that I was curious about, why you did not touch upon it, is about the gender uh, factor. And in our experience, working with students, we find that in many states, even though they are economically, in fact, in Gujarat, which is one of the more economically advanced states, we find that the number of girl applicants are very low. And we had to actually bring down the cutoff marks for girls specifically for that state. But if you come to the southern side, especially Tamil Nadu and Kerala, 70-80% applicants are girls.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do see a, in terms of gender, what's your sense on? I mean, the inequalities may even be higher. Second, the other thing is that after COVID, what do you think is going to be the impact on? Can you quantify in some terms? I mean, how many students are more likely to drop out of the education stream? And again, do you see a gender-specific factor in it?
Thanks, Meera. The reason I did not touch on gender, because once I get started there, I don't stop. There is really, and this is the work that I've been doing, especially over the last 10 years, that, from all the data that I've been seeing and working on, my net conclusion is that India's path to development is otherwise very rosy, but we will not reach anywhere because of how badly we treat our women. We can solve everything else. Look at our performance. We are doing reasonably well on ease of doing business. We do better on innovation. We are struggling, but we will do well in manufacturing. Our literacy rates are going up. Our per capita income is going up. Our corruption levels are coming down. But on every gender index, we are going down. The last gender index, we went down by 25 ranks. So in terms of how badly we treat our women, there is no parallel. We just treat our women very, very badly. I mean, can you imagine a country where, you lose 60 girl children per 1,000 boys after birth? It is, as I told you, I mean, that is just a huge area that we have to work on. I would, I've written on this, I've spoken on this issue, that if we have to go into work on anything, it has to be on the gender empowerment. Now, specifically your question, it's such a shame that of the 150 million jobs we lost in the last 14 months, about 90 million jobs were jobs that the women were doing. Disproportionately, while a lot of the poor lost jobs, it was basically women who lost jobs. Enough number of studies now to show that over 75% of the burden of lost jobs was from women. Number of dropouts. Conservative figures something like 12 million children dropping out. And of these, two-thirds are going to be girls, at least. We have already seen that in a lot of surveys done across the country. We are already seeing that a lot of girls have been asked to drop out in class 9, class 10, class 11. And these are dropouts that are never going to come back. So if you see the dropout trend, you will find, even before COVID, you will find that the dropout trend is so much higher among girls than boys, because girls have to, even at 9 and 10, they have to start sharing the household burden. They have to look after other siblings and so on. So, and in any case, look at the marriage rates. And I don't know how many of you have seen the data on marriage ages. 2011, the census is so horrifying. 26% of marriages, 26%, like more than 1/4 of marriages are where the girl is below 18, which means that 26% of India's marriages are illegal. But what is even more horrifying in the 2011 census is that 12 million girls, 12 million girls got married before the age of 10. 10. So, and we keep doing all these, sham kind of debates on whether marriage age should be 18 or 21 or whatever. I mean, we can't get people to stick to 18. We want it to go to 21. Then we talk about how difficult it is. Yes, Kavita, at 15, and you're lucky because it's 15. There are several villages where at 12 and 11 they get married today. There was this lady, Pankaj, I was horrified. She was contesting an election in the Rajasthan assembly elections, and she was campaigning saying that vote for me, because when you get your daughters married at underage, I will protect you and ensure you police doesn't come. And you know what? She was the wife of the local collector. So Mira, that the burden of dropouts, the burden of poverty is as already very high on women, and post COVID it has become even more disproportionate. And therefore it is incumbent on people like us, on you, that you have to ensure that for the girl child you reduce the eligibility. Right? There is no reason
Yes.
to keep it high. Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
great step.
Actually, we have more girls than boys in
As it should
Vidyadhan
be.
program,
As it
and
should.
our
I wouldn't
experience.
mind. I wouldn't mind if you had only girls.
No, but then actually in Tamil Nadu,
I
one
know, I
of the
know.
mothers came and told us, you are giving all examples of girls, and if you give all scholarships to girls, what will people like we do? We have only sons. they,
I know.
they are single mothers. So,
Right, 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 right.
but I mean, what I want to appreciate about our Vidyadhan children, the girls, I hats off to them,
Yeah,
so they are extremely focused. If I have to tell you, they want to complete their education.
yeah,
Their distractions are very less. And when we ask them, they say that even in villages where they are the first, girl to go out of their village and study and come out, though there are initially a lot of adverse comments, by the time they complete the education, they get a job, they have become role models for
yeah,
other girls, and the parents of other girls come and ask her opinion. Should we
yeah, yeah.
send them? Which college can we send? So that's one huge benefit from Vidyadhan, other than the fact that they become financially better or whatever. So
Yeah.
um, breaking gender stereotypes, our children have been amazing that way.
Certainly, Meera. And so so just to wrap it up, and I would argue that if those of us who are working in education are going to take the post-COVID world seriously, I think that these two or three things we have to bear in mind. Firstly, that the nature of the job market has changed. The philosophical issue that we have to grapple with is that why are we encouraging our children to go for higher education? Are we encouraging them to go for higher education because we want them to get a job at the end of the day? Are we encouraging them to go for higher education because they get empowered? Are we sending them there because they get enlightened and become better citizens? Or is it because higher education gives them a higher purpose in life? It's a tough question. Unfortunately, the new education policy is making education equal to skills. That, and the whole education system seems to be something that will deliver a job at the end of the day. That kind of narrow vision is not required. Certainly for a lot of us. I mean, I remember that when I was in college, the entire focus was on getting a job at the end of the day. There's no doubt about that. But as far as we are concerned, education is, for us, education has to be much higher than just a job training institute. It should deliver jobs, But that should be just one part of the deliverable. It has to uh, teach us what it means to be an Indian, what it means to be a good citizen. It has to teach us what it means, and this is one thing that I must emphasize. You have people like Pankaj already, who I'm sure they underline this point all the time. But what we miss in higher education, and this is the core post-COVID skill, Mira, that we need to instill into our children, and that is what will get them jobs. And surprisingly, what is that? It is a sense of ethics and morality. Post COVID, that is going to be a big issue. It doesn't exist. I know when I interview people, and I do a lot these days, the only thing I'm looking for is a sense of what is right and what is wrong. That unfortunately doesn't exist. It's not very difficult to teach that, but we just need some attention.
Absolutely. If you can
Yeah,
take one question, there are some students listening in
yeah.
on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
So this is from Abhishek Suresh. He says, "Sir, even though the income variation among people residing in India was smaller, how is it that the urban population is very low over their green area?" I think he's referring to one of your graphs.
Very good, Abhishek. I am so impressed that you listened to me because it was one of the minor points I made, and I am very impressed with the fact that you heard that. Abhishek, that's a very, very good observation. And world over, when I teach at a lot of places, and this question I have very great difficulty in answering. That why do these people in Orissa or Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand, why do they continue to live in miserable villages? You see, village life in India is not like the romantic village life in Europe. Pankaj lived there. He will tell you that it is beautiful to live in the countryside in Switzerland. But in Champaran, in Motihari, you don't want to go and live there. Our villages, you will see today, July, August, what our villages look like. They are overflowing with water. The road has been washed out. There is no electricity. There are mosquitoes. Animals are dying. There is no hospital. There are no jobs. There is no bandwidth. Why do these people then continue to live in villages? Why don't they just come away? We are not like China, where you don't have the freedom to move wherever you want to. In India, I am in lower Assam. I can pick up my bags and move to Tamil Nadu. But China, you can't do that. Then why do these people not do that? I really have no answers. My cynical answer, my cynical suggestion to all of you, and I'm telling you this because you are going to build the India of the future. My disappointing attempt at answering that question is that maybe because we treat them very badly in our cities. Why do people migrate to cities? Because cities are lands of opportunity. Because cities are anonymous. They get rid of your caste, culture, religion. You have equal opportunity with everybody else. Your children go to fancy schools. Do we do that in our cities? How do we treat Northeasterners who come to Bangalore? What do we do with people in Bihar who go to Bombay? Short of lynching them, we do everything else. What do we do with the women who migrate? Do we allow single women to migrate? What do we do when we see them, pathetically living all alone? In the Delhi, we worked a little bit among homeless in Delhi, and the women just say that it's a matter of routine that they get harassed and sexually, molested every night. So maybe that's the answer. It's a very sad answer, but I don't know of anything else. Otherwise, I can't imagine why people continue to live there. Shrutika, how do we resolve that problem of girls getting? That's a very good question, Shrutika. I was once speaking to the erstwhile chief minister in Delhi, Sheila Dikshit, and she had launched this scheme where she said that she would give continuous incentives to girls who continue to stay in school. This was called the Ladli scheme, and it worked wonders. what we do in India is that we build all the wrong incentives. For example, my argument, Pankaj, my argument with my chief minister in Telangana has been this for a long time now. Telangana has a scheme um, called Kalyana Lakshmi. What it means is that if you are 18-year-old and a Telangana woman, then the state gives you 1 lakh rupees to get married. Now, my question was that, sir, why are you giving money to get married? You should give money not to get married.
Right, absolutely.
You say that here is 1 lakh rupees. If you are 18 and you don't get married, here is 1 lakh. 19 don't get married, another lakh. Now, what you've done is that everybody who turns 18 gets married the next day. So it is really that, Shrutika, that I think that we haven't understood the fact that delayed marriages are a very important part of this whole exercise. Most often, women have dropped out because they got married. Very often. Sometimes it is because they have to look after their siblings and so on. So I think that we have to come up with a solution that tackles the problem at every level. We have to give girls the chance to go to school late. You see, a lot of girls don't go to school, and this is what I always talk about. Meera and Pankaj and whatever, all of you who are listening, our working women, right? What is their busiest time during the day? Their busiest time during the day is the morning time. Right? They get up. They are the first to get up in the morning. They have to do all household chores. They have to get children ready, tiffins. One fellow who's sleeping on the bed will make his chai, his tiffin, his lunch, and get everybody out, and then go to their own office. And then what happens at their office? They are given a red mark for arriving half an hour late. Why should we do that? The whole world is flexible. Why can't they come 1 hour late? Anywhere. If in school, the school starts at 8 in the morning and the girl child comes at 9 in the morning, what's the big deal? So I think that flexibility, Shrutika, with a combination of incentives and disincentives will work wonders. Villages in Telangana, for example, brilliant girls who do very well in class 9 and 10 don't have a class 11 to go to because the school now is 17 kilometers away and there is no transport. So we need a combination of that, and that is when it can be solved permanently. We have places. Look, don't have to go far away. Look at Sri Lanka. Look at Bangladesh. See the enormous number of girl enrollment in college. Chandrika, yeah, Chandrika, you're so right. When you migrate for work, there is so little social system that supports you. We don't have hostels. It is unsafe. In most of our cities, can women go out after 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock? Single women going out, just not possible. So it's really about safety. You know why I'm proud of Hyderabad? Hyderabad, you will see a lot of single girls because it is the single most safest city for girls right now. Okay, I have taken up a lot of time, Meera. I've crossed over by at least 8 minutes. So I'm.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Yeah, I think probably we can listen to, next part is to listen to some of our students, and then meanwhile, if time permits, we can take up some of the other comments or questions, or you can share your comments on that. If that's okay.
Yeah. Shruti, very good. The solution is to get education. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, Saugandhi?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for the insightful talk. Now we will be having a short student showcase. So usually at Vidyadan, we believe that our true ambassadors are our children. So nothing gives us a greater pleasure than hearing and sharing in the stories of our young achievers. So we have
Yes.
few of the students today at our student showcase who will be sharing their experience of how Vidyadan has impacted their lives and what are they doing and how are they planning up their future. So our first student is Harsha Sebastian. So Harsha is a Vidyadan scholar from Kerala. So Harsha, please come forward and introduce yourself and share your experiences and work that you do with Vijayadal. Harsha, over to you.
Hello, I hope my screen is visible and my audio is clear.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We make a living by what we get. We make life by what we give. Good evening, everyone. I'm really honored to get an opportunity to speak in this auspicious occasion, and it is my pleasure to introduce myself. My name is Arsha Sebastian. I'm a Vidyadhan degree scholar. I hail from a beautiful village called Cheranallur in the metro city Kochi, in the heart of the district Ernakulam in Goat's Own country, Kerala. Now, I'm a second-year undergraduate student majoring in botany at St. Albert's College, Autonomous, Ernakulam. Speaking of my family, I have father, mother, and two elder sisters in my home. My father is a driver, and my mother is a homemaker. And one of my sisters got married, and the other one is studying and doing a part-time job. We know higher education is kind of expensive. And being a child from a financially unstable family, I know the value of each and every penny. In such a situation, SDF and Vidyadhan scholarship came into my life as a helping hand. Only the most generous and kind-hearted can do such a virtuous deed out of their own savings. And I strongly believe that their investment in educating bright students will not go fruitless. My ambition is to become a civil servant. It was my dream since I was 4 years old. Back then, on our school annual day function, we had Srimati Srilega IPS as chief guest. Even though I didn't know the full form of IPS in that age, I badly wanted to become an IPS officer. As I grew older, the desire to become a civil servant intensified. All my teachers, family, relatives give me the motivation and support for my dream. And today I have SDF to root for my dreams. Sarojini Damodaran Foundation is not just an organization that provides financial assistance to students. Instead, it imparts life values and gives a sense of family among scholars. SDF teaches that one should study well and achieve his or her life goal. And after reaching the goal, after becoming success, the one should help another student the way how SDF helped them. Currently, I've been doing some short videos on tips for spoken English for SDF scholars. The inspiration behind this is also Vidyadhan. I'll tell you how. Initially, my thoughts were like this. I'm an Indian and I'm a Malayali. Why do I need to speak a better English? I can write and I can read. Why do I need to speak English? I was like that. But my thoughts changed. There were two reasons behind that. The very first reason is, every time we had a meeting with Shiblal sir or Kumari ma'am, they emphasized the need of effective communication skills and the importance of speaking better English. That thought ignited a spark in my mind. And another reason is, last year in the beginning of the lockdown, we had an online English learning course, which was led by another SDF scholar, Mr. Jarin. That 1 month session bring out the confidence in me to speak English. See how one scholar being helpful to another scholar, like our tagline, each one teach one. Yes, we grow by letting others grow. So whenever I got an opportunity to speak English, or whenever I spoke English confidently, I got reminded of him. So these two were my inspirations in English language learning program, language learning journey. In that same meeting with Shiblal sir, students got an opportunity to raise questions to them. And I mustered the courage to speak English or ask him that question is English language. And I got so many appreciation for that. And the next day, Ramanand sir asked me to lead a vocabulary program named Word of the Day, in which I share a new word, its meaning, its usage, and everything related to that word in our WhatsApp group. And I did that. Then I had an idea why I couldn't make it into a video. That's where the program called Walk with Arsha started. Walk with Arsha means walking with me in the journey of learning English language. And also the word Vaka in Malayalam means word. So in that video, I'll explain some words, idioms, and phrases in English in my own way, like how I learned English, how I learned that words, or the mistakes I made, like that. And I'm really happy and proud that so many scholars are finding these videos helpful. And I'm getting so many messages from them saying these videos were helpful. It is not because I'm an expert in this field, nor a student majoring in English language, but it is because Vidya then gave me the confidence. So if my little efforts being helpful or becoming an inspiration to others, there is nothing I could ask for more. And I need to add one more thing. It is my personal experience. Last month, I tested positive for COVID. All my family members tested positive for COVID. Now that I'm okay, I'm safe and sound, I recovered. But in those days, we all know our mental health become my mind was messed with so many thoughts. So in those days, my WhatsApp literally flooded with get well messages from other scholars, from Vidyadhan. So it was a huge relief. It is not a small thing, it is a really big thing. That's why I shared it here. The reason I shared this here is to show how STF creates a sense of family among its scholars. That's what I need to say now, because Vidyadhan and STF become a really huge part in all the scholars' life. So sorry for taking an extra minute. As we have the constraints of time, I'm concluding my words. Once again, thank you for this opportunity. And I'm always grateful to Vidyadhan. And I'm always proud to say that I'm a Vidyadhan scholar. Wishing everyone happy and healthier days ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you.
Thank you, Arsha. So our next scholar is Kalyani. She is a proud alumnus of Vidyadhan from Maharashtra. She is currently going to work with Wonderland Industries Private Limited, Pune. Kalyani, please share your experiences and how do you want to contribute to Vidyadhan? Kalyani, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Can I hear you? Sorry.
Yeah,
Hello?
you're audible.
Yes, actually I'm having a problem with my camera, so I'm not going to on it. Sorry for that. Hello everyone, my name is Kalyani Badak and I'm from Maharashtra. I have been student of SGF Foundation since 2017 to 2020. And I am very glad that Vidyadhan helped me throughout my education. I have completed my graduation from electrical engineering from PS Modern College of Engineering, Pune. And now I'm currently working with Vanderlande Industries Private Limited. My education would not have been possible without without the SGF Foundation support. Receiving this scholarship motivate me to do well, not only in academics, but in extracurricular activities. Today, I'm capable of doing job only because of this foundation as well as my parents. So now I'm very happy that I'm a responsible person, and I would like to thank all of you, Vidyadham trainers or their volunteers to help throughout my this education system. Apart from that, Vidyadhan has also organized many training programs for us, which is very helpful. And thank you so much for your contribution in my life.
Thank you, Kalyani. Now we have our next scholar, Sindhu. Sindhu is a Vidyadhan scholar from Telangana and she is pursuing her aerospace engineering from IIT Kharagpur. Sindhu, please share your success story and the role that Vidyadhan played in your life. Over to you.
Hello everyone. Am I audible and visible? Can you please confirm?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, very good evening to everyone. So, respected all the dignitaries presented in the meeting. First of all, I would like to thank everyone, each and every person behind Vidyadhan and the SD Foundation from the bottom of my heart. I'm so happy and blessed to meet such great souls in my life. And first, I would like to introduce myself clearly that I am Jeriputla Sindhu, and I'm a student of aerospace engineering in IIT Kharagpur. I completed my second year this year, and I'm from a village named Veldi in Karimnagar district, Telangana, and presently residing in Hyderabad with my uncle family. And really, the journey which like I heard about the Vidyadan from my relative in my 11th class, and I don't know what actually it is, and just went and gave the test. And after going there in the like when I visited the place where this me like the session is going on, Meera ma'am was there. She was taking the interviews and all. So when I met the people over there, and first of all when I interacted with Meera ma'am, like I after going there I understood what the value of Vidya then is, like what I am going to get through this program. So that time I got into my mind that yes, if this is there in my life, then definitely I would I grow more than I grow more like not like definitely it's going to be financially, it will be helpful. I know that you like every time Vidyadan was there to help me financially, and more than financially I feel more connected and supported morally, like because when I met Meera ma'am for the first time, she took my interview, and she like I said like that time my like I have great fascination towards my like to enter into defense of India. I want to serve my country. Like I feel so a pleasure in doing those all. So I said that due to my constraints and all, because in my 10th standard itself I lost my mother, and everything is shattered, completely disaster. Like everything was gone, and most of my like relatives and all I was saying that stop the education, because I, my sister, both are girls, and my father already suffered a lot because of my mother's health and all. Like they were like stop the education, finish it off, like just get rid of the girls and that kind of. But my father is very strong person, and literally he's my hero. Because of him only I am here. And like Meera said, don't give up the idea of serving in defense and all. Wherever you go, do it on focus, and definitely you'll get the opportunity to do that. So, ma'am, thank you so much that day, that words. Like this is the place where I got an opportunity to say thank you from that day. I'm waiting literally to say you this one.
Oh, I should thank you, Sindhu, for sharing this story. You such a wonderful role model for others as well. Thank you.
Because ma'am, I'm doing a mini project under a scientist in DRDO now. So it's a
Okay.
defense research and development organization. So I feel like when I got that, when I approached the sir and sir reciprocated me, I was very happy that okay, I this is a small thing. It's really very small thing. If the pandemic wasn't there, I wanted to internship in DRDO. So I want like being a second year student in aerospace. This I feel like it is a very big thing for me.
Yeah. Please don't give up your dream. Continue.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I know, like, I have, like, you, I have a lot of support from you, and mainly the camp which I attended during my 11th class. Like, I got lot of inspiration, and like, I dropped a year after my 12th to get into IIT, because after 12th, like my life. Like, after 12th I did not get because of my proper, because up to 10th I was in SSC, completely don't know what actually happens after 10th, because my background was like that. So like even my father don't know, but he stood very strong, and he started to learn everything instead of me, and explored everything, and bought some admission into the college, running here and there. So I got into college, and just that time I knew that what actually happened. So I went and got okay, what is IIT? So after 12th, I was like, I did not get into IIT, and NIT I might have get, but I don't know how to do counseling, how to sit for the counseling. Nothing was there. So I thought like, okay, let's take time. 1 year I'll sit, and so I sat for 1 year, and I like this 1 year. I think the people may say after some time, like when I'm decided to take the drop of 1 year, many people said that you may face like, if you don't get, what will happen, you may feel you may regret in the future you lost 1 year. But I was like strong enough that maybe I may not get or may get, but I don't know, I want some time to get to cover up what I have lost everything in those days. So I sat for 1 year, and I prepared very hard, and I finally got into IIT Kharagpur Aerospace now. And of course, aerospace was my dream branch once upon a time, but it was like lost due to the MPC scenarios and all going on in the 12th, 11th standards. So when I come into counseling and all, then I met some other people who all already gone through those phase, then got everything proper, then I got in this. And thank you so much, Vidyadan. Your camp and your words, ma'am, like they are really helpful in my life in shaping me as a person, especially. And wherever I am, I like, I wish and I will definitely serve my nation and my society. And I believe that when you can dream of it, you can do it. And one more small thing I wanted to share is that like because of this line only, I don't know why, I just got a thought of applying for a general secretary post in IIT Kharagpur. It is like uh, general secretary students welfare. So I am going to be general secretary unopposed in the elections coming further now in my tenure. So like it is a nice good post that takes care of the students of KGP community, their welfare, and the administration. So thank you so much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Sindhu, you'll be a role model and inspiration to so many students.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sindhu, please, we will arrange for a session with our younger kids, that is the 11th and 12th students. You should certainly talk to them because many of them have desires like you know, to get into aeronautics or get into IIT. But they are also worried about taking that risk. You took the risk, right?
Yes, yes,
So,
ma'am.
and but you were prepared for, you know, if it doesn't happen, it's okay. I have given it a try. It's not
Mm,
end of the world. I think
yeah.
that messaging is very important. And many times I see that girls compromise on it right from the beginning. Even though they may get in an NIT or good colleges outside their hometown, many times they prefer to go to a college near their house. You know, so
Yes.
but you have taken a lot of steps that will certainly make sure that you will end up in a great career. So please share your thoughts, experience, and motivate our younger kids to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. It's my duty and pleasure to do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sindhu. And our next scholar is Chandrika. She is a Vijayadan scholar from Telangana and she is currently pursuing sociology from Miranda House, Delhi. Chandrika, please share your experiences and the role that Vijayadan played in your life.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. Ma'am, am I audible? And can you guys see me?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you for ma'am. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So, I hope everyone is doing very well in this pandemic, and I'm really thankful to the whole core team of Vidyadan and each and every person in Vidyadan for giving me this opportunity. I'm really feeling very honored to speak here with you guys. So, yeah, I'm Chandrika Podishetty from Karimnagar district, Telangana. So currently I'm studying BA Honors Sociology final year. I completed my second year. Now ready to go into third year at Miranda House, University of Delhi. So coming to Vidyadan, like uh, as my friend fellow said, like really Vidyadan has really an important part in my life. So like when I completed my SSC, I don't even know about this Vidyadan so and so stuff. Like I got this information from a net center. So I just went for, and I think I was the last applicant from my side, from in our region. So nearly applied this scholarship on the last date and on the last minute. I never expected I would be selected in this internship and sorry, in this scholarship. And uh, but I'm really thankful to this. Like it was really helpful for me. Mm, I can't say in few words like it helped me in only financial way or support or something else. Like they were really like my family. They were like the whole team with me. Like in all my problems, in every kind of situation, they were with me. They supported me and they were really helpful to me. And here I would really specially thankful to Uma Shankar sir. Sir, I'm really grateful for you till my whole life. Like you are so like you're my second father. You're like my second father who supported each and every moment in my life. When I got admitted into Delhi University, like in from our village, so I was from a small village where girls were very discriminated, and the girl situation in my village was really worst thing. So I was really scared whether my parents will allow me to get into this college and so and so. So I just contacted Uma Shankar sir. Sorry for that. Just give me a second. I lost power in my. దేవుడాగింత మధ్యలో పడింది. చి, 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 చి. Sorry guys. Is it audible now? I'm extremely sorry. We lost power in our.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, and sorry for that. So yeah, Uma Shankar sir helped me a lot and lot. Like he contacted my family, he explained everything, and he also encouraged me a lot. He also gave me a few contacts from Delhi University of Vidyadan scholars. I really got huge support from Vidyadan, and Vidyadan scholarship was really helpful to me, like in different ways. Like not only my educational thing, but also few doing some other in like activities which was helpful to other people. Currently like in my village, in our district, like really like the girl situation was really worse. Girls get married at the very young age, like though we gave complaint to police or whatever, with many kind of reasons or corruption or with something else, like they won't get any do such thing. So like I'm planning to do like I'm planning to create an organization or a foundation for those kids. Like I have taken an initiative step, like I have contacted my school, like Telangana State Model School principal ma'am. Like she was also very supportive to me. Mm, she gave me a full support. Like I started a WhatsApp group and so stuff, like for the kids who are really interested in doing their higher education and want to know about more and more scholarships and who are willing to get into IITs or NEETs. Like I have been providing lots of information to them from my seniors and some other colleagues at my college. And I have been also doing a group related for the only for girls, like who are willing to complete their education, like who are against I'm giving like a bit financial support and some support like civil support from, like I have been contacted a few policemen near in our mandal. So like they were so supportive to the kids who are getting married in the young age. So like if someone girl is getting into trouble or doing like if their family was getting marriage marrying her in a young age, like we people will go and like we'll help her. So I'm doing this thing, like I don't know like how I'm going to continue this my work, but till now like I have helped two girls. Like they were contacting me on WhatsApp and saying like my family was against my education, they are not supporting me. So like I just help two girls till now. Like if someone comes to me, I'm sure I will help with whatever I can. And also regarding this information higher education thing, like it was going very well. Like in my group, though there are only 50 students right now, but they are providing information to literally like 3 4 schools like ZPHS in our mandal. So like yeah, I'm happy with this higher education group and so stuff. And coming to my academics, I have been elected as awareness team head at Equal Opportunity Cell Miranda House, Delhi University. And also like it's for like consequently for 2 years I have been elected as awareness team head. And right now I'm also cultural assistant secretary of Sphero Student Union at Delhi. Like I have completed my intermediate in a social welfare. So like they were also helping me in my education at Delhi University. Other than that, yeah, till now these are my achievements. I've been also doing few internships related to HR. I'm really interested to do my future, like my masters in HR management, along with sociology or business management. Like I was like I would love to do my masters in abroad. Like I was also seeking help from Vidya that team for this. Like I'm getting few information, I'm collecting some information regarding that. I really love to do an HR thing. So my aim is to become an HR manager. Mm, yeah, that's it. Like I'm really thankful to the whole Vidyadan team for giving me this golden opportunity. Like I can't express my gratitude to you, like in simple words or whatever. Still now I'm really feeling nervous to speak everything, but I'm really thankful to whole team and Saugandhi ma'am and also Umashankar sir. So for you, like I'm really grateful for my whole life. You are really so supportive to me. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. And I'm really sorry for that disturbance previously. Thank you everyone. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful, Chandrika. It's really
Chandrika,
sorry.
sorry, go ahead. Chandrika, can you come on video? Chandrika? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So you are amazing girl. Okay. So for somebody to go from Telangana, from a village in Telangana to Delhi and be the head of awareness team there. I mean, it is really amazing. I can't imagine somebody at this
Thank you,
age
ma'am.
doing like this. That's really great. Um, and if you are interested in management, studying for that, please let me know. You can contact me. I probably can help you with some inputs. Okay.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. That will be a great helpful for me. And
Yeah.
I've been looking for some foundations. Like I heard there are some foundations who are helping for girls, which will help to pursue their education in abroad with some scholarship and stuff. I'm also exploring them. Like
Yeah.
if you are giving me some, like I'll be really grateful for you.
Not money, but in terms of how to decide on whether to go for management, how to prepare, etc.
I like the good thing in this part is like I have convinced my parents like that I want to study in abroad. So they were convinced with me. They are willing to send me abroad. Like this was the great thing in my life. So I am ready for go abroad. I just need lots of information and lots of information about those universities and stuff. That's it, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you all. We have crossed our time limit now, but here we came to an end of the student showcase. So yeah, and we would be having concluding remarks by Kumari ma'am. So our next speaker needs no introduction, and she's one of the first graduate from her village, and she has uplifted nearly thousands of lives through various programs under Shibulal Family Philanthropic Initiatives. So now I would like to invite Kumari Shibulal, founder and managing trustee of SDF, to give us the closing remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really glad to be here with all of you today. I'm very happy that Dr. Amir Ullah Khan participating in this video chat today. And I would like to thank you for him for that. And I'm sure our students benefit from your informative talk and interaction with you. Again, thank you very much, sir. And next, the students. You are really wonderful. I have met some of you during the interviews. You all must be working very hard on this new kind of learning environment, like everyone else in the whole world. Just imagine what all has changed in the last 2 years. We never thought of this kind of a learning environment. When we think more about it, we humans are amazing. Any kind of situation, we adapt really quickly. Even some of us are struggling to cope up with, learned new techniques and adapted it. This is truly an opportunity in adversity. Like always, my request to all of you are, Work very hard, focus on reaching your destination, take advantage of all good opportunities in your studies, in your jobs, learning new things, etc. Today is a good example. Actually, we got the opportunity of listening to Dr. Khan. And always remind yourself about your responsibilities towards your family, towards your community, and towards your country. Show empathy towards the less privileged. We live in a society where we take a lot of things for granted. Example, education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Many of you must have studied in government schools or aided schools. Have you ever thought how the schools are giving you affordable education? Have you ever thought how the school property is maintained and the staff is paid? Anyone want to answer that? Anyone from the students? Anybody? No. Okay. Our society pays for many of these things. We take for granted our schools, roads, power, colleges, bridges. That means we pay for it. Please respect and protect them. We take a lot from our society. Always remember, we have a responsibility to give it back to our society. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your inspiring words. We will strive hard to achieve the vision of Vidyadantu. And yeah, here we have come to an end of the session. Thank you, Amirullah Khan sir, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you very much, Savandi. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Amir Khan.
Thanks, Amir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you everyone, and special thanks to the students who have participated actively in the event. Yeah, here we have come to an end of the session. Thank you all.